Denise. Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. Denise. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party.
I gotta say, I feel like we're besties now after this. What's up, guys? It's Denise Salcedo. Hey there, everyone. It is Denise live from beautiful Los Angeles. God bless California. God bless Los Angeles. God bless this whole area. I cannot put over how happy I am to be home in civilization where Wi-Fi works, where internet is good, where your food and you will arrive at the door at the exact same time. Guys, there's so much to get into. I don't know how many of you guys follow me on Twitter. Have you been keeping an eye out on my tweets and this insane schedule? But Friday, I was here in LA doing a post show. That was my last show here. Saturday, I flew to Texas for Mission Pro, did commentary there. Sunday, I flew to Florida and went to AEW Revolution, which is what we're going to be talking about here today. And it was kind of a wild experience, guys, because I am not happy with Orlando, Florida. In fact, I now got beef with Orlando, Florida. Orlando, Florida and me in a death match because I hate Orlando, Florida as of right now. And let me explain why I do not like Orlando, Florida. Now, granted, I was only there for 24 hours and, I didn't get to go and see anything fancy, really. I was just in the area around the arena, but they have terrible, and I mean terrible Wi-Fi in Orlando. And so therefore it caused me to change my flight. I was not supposed to be here in Los Angeles today. I was supposed to be back here tomorrow. And I was also supposed to have all my footage up. I kid you not. I fell asleep with my laptop on my stomach and I still could not get any footage up in Orlando. It wasn't until I got here. I was able to put up one video at the airport. Once I got here, I put up two more videos in the span of 20 minutes. Back to normal place here. But yeah, for those of you guys who are wondering, Steve's asking about the sleep schedule. It's been rough, guys. I'm running on a few hours of sleep, but it's okay. We got to do this. We're going to get to work. All right, so here we go, guys. Let's jump into AEW Revolution because it was a wild night. And by wild, I mean we got a couple of surprises. One major surprise with William Regal. On top of that, we had this is one of the pay-per-views where I feel like if you get a group of 5 people or 10 people or however, each and every single person is probably going to have a different favorite match of the night because there were a lot of really good matches on this show, including Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley, which had an amazing match, the 6-man, the tag team match, the main event. I mean, there was so much that we can pull out right now, but we're going to go ahead and jump into everything. Also, I am going to be doing this post show a little bit differently because I did not take any notes. So this is going to be all from my memory of the event. But I'll be giving you guys a firsthand experience at being at the event, being there. On top of that, I did get to attend the media scrum in which that lasted a couple of hours, but we got to talk to Tony Khan. We got a very, very emotional press interview with CM Punk. If you have not seen that video, it is up on my YouTube channel. It is kind of blowing up. Thank God. So we got that. We also spoke to Jungle Boy, Hangman Page, and Sting. So we got 5 interviews, but that was still a pretty decent amount. Also, as I continue on, guys, please, if you have any questions, comments, or statements, send in a super chat. Not only do they help me out a lot, but I get to keep 100% of the proceeds from the super chats. And also you get your comment read on the stream. And please, I need them now more than ever. All right, here we go. We're gonna kick things off with our first one. This one is from Sabrina Huancla. Thank you so much to Sabrina, who says, "I'm here for Queen Denise. Also, the pay-per-view gave me some serious Mania vibes, in my opinion. This was a loaded pay-per-view. That was one of the things that we touched on right away. It was a long show. I think it was over, like around midnight or so. I lost track of time, but it was a very long show. But top to bottom, non-stop good matches. Thank you so much to Sabrina for sending in our first super chat of the night. All right, so here we go, guys. Let's go ahead and get into this show here. So I'm not going to go through the buy-in because I was buying food and did not get to watch everything, but really quickly, I do think it was the right call to have Leyla Hirsch defeat Kris Statlander. That was my prediction. I expected her to win, and I'm glad that they're going to continue her story. In regards to Hook and QT Marshall, I thought this was a pretty decent match, especially because it was just Hook coming out to a very nice reception by the people, as expected, and him getting the win over QT Marshall gets him on the pay-per-view, obviously on the buy-in, but that's still something of importance. So I think this was a really nice spot for Hook to be in. And I think by the time his match was on, it was the last match, or rather one of the last matches in the buy-in. So for me, it was like already the entire building was pretty much full. So everybody pretty much got to see Hook in this match here. Also, fun stuff between House of Black and Death Triangle. I didn't get to see much of this match here though. So I will have to probably just fast forward this one a little bit, guys. All right, so let's get into the main card because I did not miss a single thing on the main card. But we do got a super chat from Reggie Simmons, who says, "I wanted to be there so bad being from Chicago. I know we've been spoiled with wrestling, but Fan Fest seems so awesome. I've never been to an AEW Fan Fest, so I can't even give you like any information on that. Yeah, I've never been to an AEW Fan Fest. I just haven't had the opportunity. But yeah, you guys are spoiled in Chicago. You guys have gotten a million events. Definitely so many. Andrew Cook sends in a super chat saying, "I listened to your MPW commentary. Great job. Thank you so much. I had a good time doing that show." Thank you to Andrew Cook. All right, let's go ahead and get into the main card of AEW Revolution. So here we go. We kicked off the night with Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho. Now, this one was definitely an interesting matchup. And I say this because it was an absolute war, but I thought, this match ended up, I'll just be completely honest, guys. It was better than I was expecting it to be. For some reason, I wasn't expecting it to be this good, but I did not think, even though it was such a great opener, after having seen all the matches, there's actually another match that I would have put as the opening match to replace this one, just because there was another match on this card that I think did something similar to this, but just at a greater level. And I'm talking about Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson. I really legitimately think that they basically had like something similar where it was this brutal fight, this brutal war between two guys, but they really elevated that to a whole other level. And I kind of felt that by the time that match came on, the crowd was just a little bit exhausted. So personally, I really would have swapped. Now in hindsight, I would have swapped Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson with Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho in terms of the opening match, just because I really wish that I did kind of feel like the crowd was just a little bit exhausted by the time we got to that match. And that match was so good that I think it would have done it more justice had that been the opening match. But regardless, I don't want to take anything away from Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho because this match was just way better than I expected. We got a lot of really nice chop exchanges from Kingston and Chris Jericho to the point where like Chris Jericho's chest, keep in mind that I'm not watching, on TV. I'm there live and I'm not close to the ring either. I'm a little bit far away. And even so, from my seat, from my view, I can see the redness in Chris Jericho's chest. Also, Eddie Kingston was definitely the right person to win this match. There was moments during this match that people were so erupted by how excited they were. There was a moment where Chris Jericho had Eddie Kingston in the walls of Jericho, and it was one of the most pivotal moments that I remember in this match because everybody was on the edge of their seats really for this. Jericho, when he had him on the walls of Jericho, I think a lot of people were really expecting Eddie Kingston to tap. And what felt like a moment where, oh my God, he might really tap, they really sold it very well to the point where you thought that that's it, that it was going to be over. But it wasn't. Eddie Kingston, when he got to the rope after that, I swear, that is the thing that I remember the most in this match because the crowd legitimately lost their minds during this moment. So personally, that was my favorite Eddie Kingston, Chris Jericho moment of the night was that particular moment here. But yeah, let's go ahead and see what else I want to make sure that I add to this. We did end up seeing Eddie Kingston win again. Like I said, right call to actually have him get this win, guys. But for those of you who are here, please let me know what you guys thought about this match. How did you feel? Did it exceed expectations? Also, the crowd was like kind of 50-50 with Chris Jericho and Eddie Kingston. To be honest, it surprised me a little bit because even though Chris Jericho is somebody that's always been loved, I kind of felt that, to me at least, it felt like it was clear that this should be Eddie Kingston, just given like all of their promo work and everything that they've been doing. Like Jericho's kind of been a little bit of a jerk to Eddie Kingston during these promos. So I kind of felt like Eddie Kingston would have maybe like 70-30 in terms of the crowd. But it felt pretty 50-50 here. Let's see what people are saying, guys. This one is from Brandon Charles Powell, who says, after the first suplex from Kingston to Jericho, I knew we were in for a fun night. I also screamed at that suplex with how Chris Jericho landed. There were a lot of those good moments on there, really delivered. Thank you so much to Brandon for sending in this super chat. We got another one from Keel Robinson TV who says, chef's kiss to blood, double juice for life. Always here for the blood. Always here for the violence. Thank you so much to Keo Robinson TV for sending in that. All right, let's go ahead and get some more comments here. This one is from Young Blood Ginger, who says, Eddie is super hot momentum-wise after that Jericho rivalry. How do they keep him hot? I think they do it by continuing to put him in matches like this. Like, he's one of those guys where I don't think he needs to be a champion. I don't think he needs to have gold around his waist to necessarily get over with people and continue having, holding the interest of people in the palm of their hands. Like, Eddie Kingston is able to keep the attention of the fans with or without the title, and we've definitely seen that. So, a fun opener, but I would have, again, like I said, swap that Bryan Danielson, John Moxley match for this one here. We got a comment here from Stan Grubb who says it was a good fight, looked brutal. We got some good stuff there. But now let's move on to what I don't know. Like, I've been trying to decide for the last couple of hours what my personal favorite match of the night was. And I'm a little bit torn. I'm torn between this one, which is the AEW World Tag Team Championship match with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus and Red Dragon and the Young Bucks. So I'm torn between that one. I'm torn between, like, the Face of the Revolution was phenomenal too, but it had so many like fun moments, but I loved it a lot. I was considering it as one of my favorite matches of the night, but I'm thinking I'm going to say that no, just because I really liked this tag team match, and I also really enjoyed the Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson match, but I'm going to have to say that as of right now, the vibe that I'm with, I think I'm going to go with this one being one of my favorite matches, if not my favorite match of the night. And what I'm talking about here is the AEW World Tag Team Championship match, guys. This one, I think, when we consider people that for the first time, let's just say they're watching AEW or they're casuals or something. Let's say maybe they're not diehards. I feel like this is the type of match that really gravitates towards people because it's a lot of fast-paced action, a lot of nonstop spots, just back and forth, keeping that going. So for me, this is one of those matches that I think that you don't need to necessarily be like a diehard wrestling fan to enjoy. And it was just so exciting that it doesn't matter, again, if you're just a casual or even not a wrestling fan and somehow you were watching this event, it's like you were going to get into it regardless. Like, regardless of what your degree of wrestling fandom is, this is the match that pulls you in. We got a super chat from Sabrina. Thank you so much for this very generous super chat. Sabrina says, two top matches for me, at least from this pay-per-view, was Punk versus MJF and Moxley and Bryan match. But the greatest moment for me was when Wardlow screwed MJF. That had me clapping and screaming. We'll get to that in just a second, but I will say this now. Wardlow screwing MJF got one of the loudest reactions of the night. Like, it was up there in terms of like top 3 reactions. I would put the top 3 reactions I would say were Wardlow screwing MJF. That was a good reaction. William Regal coming out. That was another good reaction. And I'm trying to think. I don't know. You guys let me know what you guys think was the third one. But those were the top 2 that I really feel were like the biggest. Oh, and obviously the spot with Sting, that was a great reaction too. Same thing with Sami Guevara when he did the Spanish Fly off of the stage. That was another really good spot too, in terms of like really loud reactions and how people responded. But okay, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this match, guys. I think for me, and we kind of already mentioned this, but it was just the fact that they really went out there and they did a lot. I want to give extra credit here, though, to Jungle Boy, because I think the first portion of this match was kind of Jungle Boy, going out there and doing all of these, spots. There was one moment where I was seeing him toss his body in one direction, then I'd see him on the opposite side of the ring, going into something else. I mean, it was kind of crazy. But there was also, when you have the Young Bucks, and the Young Bucks are known for having these types of matches, they really just keep the ball rolling. And that is what you saw in this match, which is what made it really good. I love seeing Luchasaurus go in there and, hit the clotheslines, coming in, doing his like standing moonsault. That was good too. There was just a lot of different moments during this match that it was just back and forth, nonstop action. I'm trying to think if there was something else that I wanted to talk about, guys. Again, I'm kind of going off of my memory here, but if there was any spots that you guys really enjoyed during this match, go ahead and let me know here, because there were some good stuff here. And let's go ahead and see what people were saying here in regards to this match. We got one from let's see. This one's from Andrew Cook, who says Jungle Boy was working his tail off. Dude, he seriously was. Ryan Cordes says Luchasaurus probably had his best match in AEW last night too. His hot tag is incredible at this point. It really is. He got the people fired up. And it's one thing when you see Jungle Boy going across the ring and being all like showing his agility and all of that, because you expect it from Jungle Boy. Like, look at him. That's who he is, right? He has the body type and everything. But then you come in and you have the incorporation of Luchasaurus, who is a lot bigger, and then you go out there and you see him do those things, you're going to garner a different reaction. And we definitely got that during this. Thank you so much to Ryan for also sending in that comment. But we got a super chat from Edgardo Alvarez Jr., who says, I was there last night and it was a great show. The problem with the show and WrestleMania is that everyone cheers so much it gets exhausting. Dude, I was so freaking tired, but I mean, I was already tired, period. But like the last 3 matches, oh man, I was so tired. But that's the thing too, is that they were so good though that they still kept you in the match. Like, even if you were tired, you were still obviously, reacting to what was going on in the ring. And that's a good sign, because if it would have been like, we would have had like terrible matches to close out the show, oh damn, I probably would have been knocked out of my chair. But no, they kept it going, which is good. Thank you so much to Edgardo for also sending in that super chat here. Let's see what we got here. This is a comment from Sweet Monkey Tuesday, who says, I usually hate this format where only 2 can be in the ring, but it works so well in this match. It did, because it was just like a rotating effect where like you just kept seeing like bodies and like things happen in the ring. Let's see what else we got here. This one is from Queen of Hueco Mundo, who says, this pay-per-view is action-packed and has to be the best pay-per-view AEW has done. I think in terms of wrestling and wrestling matches, period, and work rate, I would definitely put AEW Revolution, this pay-per-view way up there in terms of like best because of like moments and important things. I still think that was All Out because you got, Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole, and then you had CM Punk's first match. Like that's still, and you had Lucha Bros win the tag team titles. Like that's still such a big momentous event that I don't think, because so many big newsworthy moments happen on that show, I feel like you're always going to put that one really up there. But in terms of work rate and matches, this one's definitely up there because there's a lot of good stuff. And there's matches that I want to rewatch too on TV just to kind of see what I didn't get to see in person. We got another super chat from Sabrina hooking it up today. Sabrina says, this was my first AEW pay-per-view and it honestly made me feel like a kid again, like getting all excited and feeling all the good feels. And I haven't felt that from a pay-per-view in a while. So just to give you guys a little side note, because Sabrina reminded me of this. So yesterday, while I was at the event, my fiance, he took his nephew who has never seen AEW. He has never seen an AEW on TV. He doesn't know any of the wrestlers. He only knows Sting and Jericho and the big former, WCW or WWE guys, right? He was a WWE fan. He stopped watching. His favorite wrestler is Finn Balor, has not really watched in the last, since COVID. But anyways, he had not seen AEW. So they took him yesterday to the theaters to go watch the event. After this tag team match, I got a text from my fiance saying Josiah is now sold on AEW. Like it was this one match that made him into a fan. And that's what I mean by it's matches like this that will bring in, your most casual or maybe, fans that maybe haven't been watching the wrestling product at all. It'll get you invested. So anyways, that's what Sabrina's super chat reminded me of. Thank you so much, Sabrina. All right, guys, let's go ahead and continue on here. We did see Jurassic Express retain their championships, and that is definitely the smart move because, dude, not only are they fun champions, not only are they supremely likable, but with the Young Bucks Red Dragon story, you don't need the titles to tell a good story there. So very happy that they retained the titles. I have to agree with this comment. This one's from Bill Mafia STF. It says, Young Bucks never miss. And we got people saying that that my I guess he'd be my nephew too now. Is all elite. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Let's get into this next match, which was definitely up there. Did not disappoint. This was the Face of the Revolution ladder match. We had Wardlow getting the win here. He defeated Keith Lee, Christian Cage, Orange Cassidy, Ricky Starks, and Powerhouse Hobbs. All right, so this was a match full of big, spectacular moments. Now, let's go ahead and put over some of those most memorable spots. All right, first of all, immediately, they made sure to have all the big guys in the ring together. That includes Wardlow, Keith Lee, and Hobbs. So they were like all three in the ring kicking this off. And then I'm thinking like, all right, we're going to get in there and they're all going to start like, doing big meaty men things. Well, instead they had Orange Cassidy, who, pretty lanky. He goes in and, he does his little skit where he pretends, he's kicking really hard, but he's not really kicking really hard. And the crowd is like, oh, and, really selling his kicks and whatnot. But from here on out, Orange Cassidy ended up being one of my favorite people in this match. And the reason for that is he did so much fun stuff with the big guys that it made it very just fun to see. Like there was a moment where Keith Lee was using Orange Cassidy's body to like slam him into the other guys, literally using Orange Cassidy as a weapon, where I thought, that's it. Tony Khan, please make Orange Cassidy Keith Lee's official accessory because he really utilized Orange Cassidy's body to basically hit all the other guys. So I really liked that. There was another moment where I don't know how to describe this. So please, mind you, I'm going to describe it the best I can. But there was a moment where okay, so we had, I think it was Keith Lee and freaking, it was Keith Lee and Wardlow. Oh yeah, Keith Lee and Wardlow. They were holding this ladder up, all right? And it was kind of like they were playing limbo with this ladder, holding it up. And Orange Cassidy was hanging down like a monkey, like monkey bars, legitimately on this ladder. And then there was a moment where you're thinking like, okay, this is already cool. He's hanging upside down from this ladder. But then out of nowhere, he like ends up flipping himself over onto the top portion of this ladder. And it was such a creative moment that I feel like it really got the people saying like, oh shit, anything can happen here because we've never seen anything like this. There was also a moment where Orange Cassidy used all the big guys as a human ladder. That was a whole lot of fun. Just Jesus, there was so much stuff. I'm trying to remember everything here. All right, there was also, let's talk about what we saw on the outside. So we ended up seeing Hobbs and Keith Lee. Hobbs and Keith Lee, they were over on the stage area by commentary. So I got a really nice view of this. And, they were doing their thing and you already knew something was going to happen. But for some reason, I completely forgot about Wardlow during this moment. Like I completely forgot. And he came from behind and ended up basically tossing both guys over and they ended up landing straight to the ground. And that was really good too, because it was story-wise, it was a good way to eliminate the big guys so that Wardlow is the last remaining big guy so that he could make his way over and eventually win this match. So I think it was at this point when he eliminated the two big guys where I thought, all right, Wardlow is going to win this match. And so until then, it was just a moment of like, okay, let's see when this actually happens. I really love how he took out Ricky Starks as well. That was really cool when we saw Danhausen essentially come out. He appears and he ends up cursing Ricky Starks. That was really fun too. We see Wardlow end up hitting Christian Cage with a power bomb. That was a lot of fun, especially onto the ladder. And then he power bombed Starks onto the ladder as well to finally get the win. So I kind of just liked all of these moments in which Wardlow was eliminated everybody in like different ways so that he could make his way to the top. So he finally gets there, gets the little golden ring, and there you go, man. He wins this match. This was a lot of fun. It was exactly what it needed to be, guys. Send in any comments, guys. Once again, I'm kind of going through this by memory. So if I miss an important moment, please remind me because I'm trying to remember everything. Matt James says that Ricky Stark's bump looks so cringe. Happy to see Wardlow getting the push now. I mean, keep in mind that I wasn't watching on TV from the live perspective. It looked freaking cool. But from the closer up perspective, I didn't get to see how he landed. I don't know how he landed. I didn't get to see like the finer details of that. But from my point of view, I was just like, oh shit. But you knew it was nasty though. You knew it was nasty because that shit was on the ladder. So you knew it was not a pretty sight or not a pretty feeling. Thank you so much to Matt James. I almost called you Matt Jackson. Matt James for sending in this super chat. Guys, I'm running on a couple of hours of sleep here. Emiliano Brito. Jesus. Emiliano Brito sends, little disappointed neither Cody or Lana Rhodes showed up last night. So I was not nowhere near expecting seeing Cody or Lana. Were you talking about Lana? Yeah, or Lana or Brandy or anybody. I wasn't expecting to see any of them last night at all. I will tell you that I wasn't expecting William Regal, and we'll get to that in just a second. But thank you so much to Emiliano for sending in this super chat here. All right, let's go ahead and continue on here. This one is from Youngblood Ginger, who says Wardlow definitely has earned this push. The payoff from his MJF rivalry is going to skyrocket him to the moon. Future TNT champions, and people are really happy that Wardlow obviously that won this match here. And let's go ahead and continue on here. Bobby C says, during that Ricky Starks moment, he says, it looked like a slip, but Ricky sold it laying there all folded up. Thank you so much for pointing this out. See, guys, like this is a pay-per-view where I want to rewatch on TV because there were so many brutal spots, and there was also like so many like technical things that happened in so many different matches that I feel like I missed out on not getting to see all of that stuff. All right, let's go ahead and continue on from here. All right, so after this, let's get into the Shane Swerve Strickland signing announcement, everybody. So we kind of already all knew that Swerve was going to be part of AEW. Like the reports were already out there. This was very known information. So I don't necessarily think a lot of people were so surprised at this. I think for the most part, everybody kind of knew. But this is going to be a very exciting moment. I think there is a very nice spot for Strickland on the AEW roster. I think that, obviously having somebody like him, somebody, that's a little bit different on this roster. One of the things that Tony Khan was talking about, and he was asked about on the media scrum, was about representation. And, he brought up a lot of the signings that he has been making to basically like continue to diversify the roster. So that is something to take note of here, I think. This was fun. Strickland, unfortunately, in NXT, when he became NXT North American champion, it was like they completely forgot. So we didn't really get to see him really get to bask in being an NXT North American champion. So we didn't really get to see much there. They didn't give him any defenses. But, being part of Hit Row got over with the WWE audience. At least for quite a few people, they got over. And at least for the people watching, NXT. And they got called up to the main roster. They were there on SmackDown. I think they appeared like twice. Things did not end up going the way that they were expecting. They released B-Fab, and then it's just the guys. But then lo and behold, all the guys get released too. And so it was kind of a little bit unfair where you kind of I feel that, Strickland didn't necessarily get an opportunity to really showcase himself in WWE and get to show people, what he can do. So now this is his opportunity in AEW to say like, hey, this is why you should be rooting for me. This is who I am. And this is his opportunity to kind of, get his name out there with some of the top players. So we'll see how that all goes down for Swerve. And we got a super chat from Chris Thornton, who says debut AEW superstar. Well, I don't get this comment, guys. Sorry. Chris, I don't think I get your super chat, so I'm not sure if I misunderstood, but if you want to just go ahead and resend it in, you can here. Or not, you could phrase it in the way you wanted it to mean. I'm not really sure what you were trying to get at there. All right, guys, let's go ahead and continue on here. And all right, I think I'm caught up with all of these here. I'm just making sure that he sends in his comment. All right, I'll keep an eye out for Chris Thornton's comment. All right, let's go ahead and continue on. Let's go from here into the Jade Cargill Ty Conti match. This one was probably my least favorite match of the night. I wasn't necessarily into this match. I think this was the match where I felt like I really wasn't reacting, where I was kind of just sitting there watching, kind of waiting for the next thing, to be honest. But I will give I'll give them both kudos, man. Jade's over. She got a really nice reaction. I love Ty Conti. Ty Conti, we've talked about her improvement in AEW and how much she's improved. She's a fighter, man. She goes out there no matter what she's given. She makes sure that people are, noticing her and, noticing her, period. Like, I think she did a lot in this match to really she gave a lot to Jade Cargill that also helped Jade Cargill look good here. But it was one of those things where it's like, all right, I think everybody knew that it was going to be Jade Cargill that was going to be getting the win. I think that Ty Conti has been in this like predicament where like people know she's improving and she's likable and she's getting there, but she's kind of in the position where she's always the bridesmaid, never the bride. When she was going up against Britt Baker, I don't really think a lot of people really thought that there was a chance Ty Conti would actually win. So people were looking forward to the match, but I don't necessarily think people were expecting her to get a win here. And she kind of fell into the same thing with this match with Jade Cargill, where it was like, all right, we all know what the outcome of this match is going to be. And that was kind of it, guys. Like, I think for me, there wasn't very much that I can definitely say here. I'm trying to think if there was anything I missed, but let's go ahead and get this super chat from Amir Al-Karani, who says, Denise, was Florida nice? I've never been there. Did you go to Disney? I definitely did not go to Disney. I was only there for 24 hours, so I did not get to go to Disney, but I saw a bunch of families that were going to Disney, and then like the whole airport is like not Disney themed, but very Disney vibes and like ocean vibes and Universal Studios and all of that good stuff. I saw a bunch of families that were going to Disney, but I wasn't one of them. In terms of Florida being nice, I didn't get to see much. I saw more when I went to Jacksonville, and it was all right. It was okay. But again, I need to go back and see more. But I probably won't be going back to Orlando anytime soon, guys. After all of the Wi-Fi issues and all of that, it really, really soured me on Orlando, Florida. So I'm sorry, guys. I'm used to the good life here in LA with my nice, beautiful, strong internet connection. I am spoiled here. So anytime I go someplace else and it is not up to standards, it's not up to Hollywood Salcedo standards, I'm going to get angry. But let's go ahead and continue on here. We got a super chat from Jeff Meacham Network, who says, sorry I'm late, longtime fan since the days with Waltman. Oh my God, thank you so much. Only recent subscriber doing a fab job with everything. Thank you so much to Jeff Meacham Network for sending this in. For those of you guys who do not know, yeah, I used to work with Sean Waltman for 3 years, everybody. And prior to my Fightful and Wrestling Observer days, I was working with X-Pac on his podcast. It's a great time. Great time. Thank you for remembering that. Put a lot of work into that. So thank you so much for that. And let's go ahead and see Stevie Bebby. Steve says Hollywood Salcedo and her high-class Wi-Fi needs. Guys, I'm sorry. First world freaking problems. I know, spoiled brat. I know, but if I am someplace with bad Wi-Fi, I will lose my mind. And I know there's people are going to be on here that are going to be like, Denise, go out, read a book, go for a walk. I can do all those things with my Wi-Fi too. Anyways, but that's how I feel. Sean Williams says, you hate Florida. We get it. No, I hate places with bad Wi-Fi. I didn't have this issue in Jacksonville, by the way. Jacksonville was great with their Wi-Fi. Thumbs up, Jacksonville. All right, let's go ahead and continue on from here. Let's get into the dog collar match, which was CM Punk versus MJF. All right, this was really good storytelling. This was kind of the big thing in terms of this match. Heading into it, a lot of people were basically on here, coming onto these shows, coming onto these chats, on Twitter, everywhere, basically saying that the storytelling between CM Punk and MJF has been some of the best storytelling that they've seen. Besides them, not the only other, but, CM Punk has had good stories since coming into AEW. Everything that he did with Eddie Kingston was really good. They stole the show at Full Gear. That was great. MJF and everything that he did with Chris Jericho, it was a little long-winded, but there was still so much good stuff there. So you got two guys that are used to being in good stories coming together, two guys that are similar in the way that they are both really good on the microphone. They have two very strong characters, two very strong personas, and they came into this and people really wanted this to be the main event because this was the hottest story going into this pay-per-view. And who can blame, I can't blame anybody for wanting to have this match as the main event because the buildup was just so freaking good. We already kind of talked about, the promo work that MJF did. We've talked about it endlessly, but that was just one of the things that I think really elevated this. And the relationship between MJF and CM Punk, where it was like MJF was, fooling everybody and coming from this perspective of, oh, I'm this hurt fan, but in reality, he was playing him. All of that stuff and all of their interactions leading up to this match were executed perfectly. Going into this match, into this story, we were already expecting a lot of blood. I know that, given the attack that MJF did to CM Punk on, when he attached him to the ring and, he was hitting him and he was all bloody and we got that great visual. We knew that because we got all of that this was going to have to be that times 10 times more. And we got that. Like, there was so much that they did here. One of my favorite parts in this was there was a moment where MJF got the microphone and he basically used that and started talking smack to CM Punk, this and that. He was really being, MJF, and, the people were really hating him. He sits on the top rope, and just when you think like you're counting out CM Punk here, he's kind of beaten down, not really, spunky and full of energy. And then out of nowhere, he just yanks the chain and you just see MJF fall face forward onto the mat. That was one of my favorite moments, like right at the beginning of this. I thought that was really good. But just the way that they, utilize the dog collar, the chain, all of that was done really great. And I also like that this was either like pinfall or submission, and that they didn't do the whole like touching the turnbuckles. I'm glad that they didn't do that, and I'm glad that they formatted it this particular way. I do think there was also the only thing, we did get to see a very bloody CM Punk too, so that was really great as well. We expected it. But I will say this though. This was a long match, and I think it was, I'm looking here, it says it was 26 minutes. Honestly though, given how many more matches we had, I would have trimmed this match down maybe like 5 minutes. I did think there was a point where it did take a little bit too long. So I would have trimmed down maybe about 5 minutes kind of to get into the finish. So let's talk about this finish, guys. So we had Wardlow. Wardlow comes out, and the second he comes out, everybody's like, oh shit, this is going down. This is finally happening. Because for the longest now, we've seen them planting the seeds of this Wardlow turn on MJF. We've been seeing them plant these seeds. So we knew it was coming. And it's gotten to the point where it's like Wardlow was kind of overdue with his reaction. I kept saying on the last couple of weeks, like, he either has to do something at Revolution, or if he doesn't do anything at Revolution, like, that's it. This has gone way too far. You cannot continue on this way. Like, he's got to stand up for himself at this point, right? And, just like the week before, MJF slaps him in the face and, just really kind of pushes him to that next level. So this was a very, very long, like, months worth of this Wardlow MJF situation, right? Months worth. It started off very small, little insults here and there, and they just kind of kept getting more and more. We were seeing the frustration on Wardlow. Obviously, the interactions between him and Sean Spears, his accountability buddy, who was essentially, kind of being very annoying Wardlow and all of that good stuff. So anyways, so he comes out, and everybody knows, okay, this is the moment. He's either going to turn on MJF or not. But I think everybody kind of knew, like, okay, he's finally going to turn on MJF. So he comes out, and from the looks of it, MJF's asking him for the ring. And Wardlow's kind of like, oh, I don't got it. Like, oh, And afterwards, this helps CM Punk essentially get the advantage with the distraction from Wardlow and MJF. So he's distracted. CM Punk is able to get the advantage here for a quick second. And then there's this like stare off between CM Punk and Wardlow where they're like looking at each other. And CM Punk's trying to gauge like, what is Wardlow really doing there? What is going on? Is this something where like, should I trust him? Should I not trust him? And then lo and behold, he takes out the ring. He takes out the ring and he gives it to CM Punk. MJF MJF spits in the face of CM Punk, and hits him with the ring, and we end up seeing CM Punk get the win here, guys. So I thought that the incorporation of him giving him the ring and using it was phenomenal. It was such a this is what MJF deserves. This is what he gets. And we finally got a payoff to this MJF Wardlow feud. And that's the thing, guys. Like MJF, and this was something that I tweeted out yesterday, MJF is a made man. He's a made man, guys. He's gotten himself over again with all of his promo work, with everything that he did with Jericho and all of these other people. And now with what he did with CM Punk. He's a made guy. All right? We already know that. But in making himself, he also helped Wardlow get over. Like Wardlow got over and they presented him in a very good way. Like Wardlow benefited a lot from the association with MJF, and it really helped him out to get the pop and the reaction that he got when he turned on MJF. People were legitimately into that. And then going back to the fact that we saw his performance at the Face of the Revolution ladder match, like this was Wardlow's night. Like this was a very pivotal moment for counting Wardlow as one of the futures of AEW. But let's go ahead and get some comments here because we got a couple of super chats. We got a very, very generous super chat from DKK. No, sorry, not DKK. From Odd Wombat. Odd Wombat, thank you so much for this very kind super chat, who says, whose house? Salcedo's house. Thank you very much. I appreciate the very kind super chat. We got another super chat from Juan Rodarte, a good friend here of the show. Thank you so much to Juan, who says, great podcast, Denise. I thought that Cole versus Paige was the best match yesterday, but after rewatching the Kingston versus Jericho, that hands down was the match of the night. It had everything, the psychology, the selling, the finish. Like I said, guys, this is a pay-per-view where I think everybody is going to have different ideas of what they thought the best match of the night was. Because while I agree with you on Cole and Paige and, Kingston and Jericho really delivering, those were not my matches of the night. But that's not to take away from that's not to take away from those matches. It's just to kind of show like the high work rate that we saw throughout the entire show. Thank you so much to Juan Rodarte for sending that in. We got another super chat from Diable37 who says, seeing CM Punk come out to misery. I don't know. Misery. Oh my gosh. Coming out to the AFI song in the basketball shorts and the feel good. Oh, wait. So it made me feel like he came out at the first dance all over again. Let's save that because I need to talk about that more once we actually get to CM Punk. So, oh, wait. Oh my gosh. I skipped all of the stuff I wanted to say about the post scrum. Thank you. Your super chat reminded me of everything else that I needed to say about this. All right. So when CM Punk came out to his AFI entrance and he came out with the white shorts and he's throwing out the X and he's got, the black jacket and, his old look, and he goes out into the ring and, he throws out the X. He has the moment. That was a very, I think a lot of people in there kind of just felt like, all right, this was really cool. I don't know how else to explain it. I legitimately don't know how else to explain it. I think whether you were there in live, whether you were watching, I think a lot of people really just kind of felt the feels, because if you've been a CM Punk fan for like a very long time and you've seen his like evolution from like everything that he did, pre WWE, all of his stuff with Ring of Honor, and then going, in just so much that he did, right? And then having this moment where his life sort of changes because, he has this, God, I don't even know what to call everything that went down with WWE, this drastic change in his life where like shit goes downhill, maybe makes him fall out of, in love with wrestling for a bit. And, he's gone for 7 years, and he finally comes back in this, new place that was not around when he left, probably didn't even think that this could be an option to be able to perform someplace at this caliber and have stories of this caliber. It was just a moment. I don't know how else to say it, but this is one of the things that I did want to touch on in regards to CM Punk for this, is that in the media scrum, and I don't know how many of you guys, I don't know how many of you guys saw the video already, but I have now done I'm going to say maybe 3 medium scrums with CM Punk. And usually when he comes out, he's very calm, cool, and collected. And, he's CM Punk, right? So he's excited, he's nice, he's funny. And, he was those things last night too. But last night we saw a different version of CM Punk. Last night, I think we saw the most real version, like guards down. This is my raw emotions, CM Punk. So he went out there and I think like right off the bat, he mentioned something along the lines of him feeling like kind of emotional and wanting to cry. And then he finally gets asked the question about, his entrance and how he felt about, things going down. And throughout this entire interview, guys, he was really he was crying. He was crying throughout the interview, really, really emotional. And he even made a joke about the fact that he was sick and tired of crying. And he basically was putting over the fact that he was just so happy that he got a second opportunity in pro wrestling, that he's getting another chance to do this. And I think that it was really deep, guys. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like if you are a CM Punk fan, or even if you're not like the biggest CM Punk fan, or you're whatever kind of CM Punk fan you are, you should watch that interview, because I don't think I've ever seen a wrestler ever, like in my like experience doing all of these press conferences, interviews, etc. I don't ever think I've seen a wrestler be so in touch with what they're feeling at that moment, and it being so overwhelming that they can't even hide it from people. Because there's people that are very happy and they go out there and they probably cried in the back, but they're able to hold themselves when they're doing these interviews and whatnot. But I think the emotions that CM Punk was feeling were just so grand that like he had to let it out. And so that was pretty interesting to see. And he does talk about the Ring of Honor purchase, Tony Khan purchasing Ring of Honor. And one of the main things that he did say during this interview, when he was asked about, his initial reactions to CM Punk purchasing Ring of Honor, to Tony Khan purchasing Ring of Honor, he basically said that he was happy because the last thing he wanted was for WWE to own more. Specifically Vince McMahon. He specifically said Vince. He did not want Vince to own more of his footage because he felt he already owned enough of his footage and enough of his work. And then kind of went in and talked a little bit more about royalties and, how he's pretty much getting like nothing, from those videos and from all of that, and from the network, and he talks about that. So he really goes in depth into all of that. And then there's also a moment where one of the reporters in the room, I believe, showed him a like CM Punk tattoo. Like I didn't get to turn around and see the tattoo in time, but from my understanding, it was a CM Punk tattoo, or like related to CM Punk in some sort of way, where there was like straight edge or whatever. But when CM Punk saw that, he kind of had this like, ooh, like this big moment, like this big reactory moment where you're just like, shit, like he is seeing the people that he inspired to either pursue a career in wrestling or, just became fans of wrestling because of him. And he was really reacting to that. On top of that, he really put over his love for Bret Hart. Like he put over his love for Bret Hart like so much. So that's just kind of a rough bullet points of what went down during that media scrum, but you can watch that on my channel right now, youtube.com/Denise Salcedo. It is up. You can watch this. I would if I were you. All right. Sorry, guys. I'm all over the place, running on a couple of hours of sleep. Sabrina sends in a super chat saying, I was shocked that Shawn Spears wasn't a part of this match. I'm glad they didn't need him in this. They didn't need him. So I'm glad about that. Young on Watch says, I was angry watching the Britt Rosa match. I know it's leading to a steel cage in San Antonio now, but the interference was too much. So we'll get to that. But I feel I had a couple of people message me telling me that they felt that the interference was too like WWE-ish. So while I personally didn't hate the interference, I didn't think it needed it, but I know people's criticisms of it, that they felt it was too like, again, WWE-ish. This is literally what I got. Like people were literally telling me this. So take their word for that. But we'll talk about that in just a second. Thank you so much to Young on Watch, because I do want to talk more about Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker properly. And all right, guys, let's go ahead and continue on here. And let's go ahead and get into, oh, well, there you go. Next match. All right, I'm already forgetting the order of everything. All right, Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa. So as we mentioned above, as we had our super chat mentioned from Young on Watch, this is leading to a steel cage match. We have a number one contendership match coming up on, I believe it's either going to be taking place on Dynamite or on Rampage, guys. If somebody can remind me on when they're going to be doing the number one contenders match. But they're going to be doing a number one contenders match. And if Thunder Rosa wins that, then she'll get a shot over at Britt Baker. And from the looks of it, that may be the moment for Thunder Rosa. That may be the moment that we've all been waiting for her, where she might possibly become AEW Women's World Champion. Tonight wasn't her night. This was not the final, this was not the final straw in the story of Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. This was not it. I thought for a second that it was, because, you have this big pay-per-view. This has to be the moment where they're going to, crown her champion, but this isn't it. It looks like there may be different plans in store. So obviously we still don't know for sure, but I think it's a somewhat safe assumption to make that she could possibly win the title in San Antonio, but we'll see. Especially, I think it'll be like 1 year since the lights out match by that point, with all the dates and all of that. But anyway, so the match itself, I thought, was put in a bad spot on the card, and I get it. Like, I don't know what other spot they could have put. You know what? I would have swapped. Honestly, I would have swapped this match, Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, in the same spot where they had Jade Cargill and Ty Conti. I would have swapped those two matches, because I kind of feel like this one was kind of getting like we had just wrapped up CM Punk and MJF. I think the crowd was a little bit like, still bouncing back from that match, that I don't necessarily think that they were totally and completely engaged in Britt and Thunder Rosa. At least that's how it felt in person. I don't know how that came across on TV, but it did kind of feel like that. There was just it didn't really feel, considering that this was a match that a lot of people said should have main evented this show. It didn't really feel like that. It didn't really feel like that when we were watching it. But they had, they had a pretty decent match, guys. Like, they did not have a match whatsoever. We got a really long beat down from Britt Baker, Rosa finally coming back from that, hitting a German, seeing drop kicks, etc. All of that good stuff. We saw, for the finish though, we end up seeing a distraction. We end up seeing a distraction with Rebel. So Rebel gets involved in this, and this kind of ends up taking a bit of this portion of this match. And I don't necessarily think that the people cared. Like, the people didn't care for this interaction with Rebel. They just did not care whatsoever. All of the stuff with the bout, with Jamie Hayter passing the bout to Britt Baker and all of that, and hitting her with the curb stomp, when she got the near fall after that, people were really kind of like, okay, like, this is good. Like, this is, kind of picking up there. But in the end, we ended up seeing Baker get the win here, finally hitting the curb stomp for the actual win. So this was interesting, but this was not the right placement for this match. Again, I would have swapped it, and maybe I would have taken out a little bit more of the interactions, the outside interferences, excuse me. But at least now that we know that this is leading to a steel cage, I think it makes a little bit more sense. So while we all thought that this was going to be, the end of this feud, it kind of seems like instead of ending at the pay-per-view, it's just kind of like a continuation of this. So we are going to be probably seeing that steel cage match. So I'm glad to hear that. We got to hear Sheldon Jackson, who says Britt Baker matches are now becoming evil matches of New Japan, and that is not a good thing at all. I don't feel that way for Britt Baker. No, I don't feel that way. I know how I feel about evil matches, and I'm not a big fan. And I'm a bigger fan of Britt Baker, that's for sure. Thank you so much to Sheldon Jackson for sending in the for sending in that comment. But let's go ahead and see what people are saying. This one is from Ramon Hernandez, who says, having the hometown pop to more eyes on TV will make Rosa come off as an even bigger star. Bobby C says this match fell out of sync. Both the crowds and the wrestlers just weren't clicking. Camboy says, of all the matches, this was the only one where I didn't see any of the highlights or endings. So IDK, what happened? Mike Parker says they definitely did them dirty, putting them in that spot. Again, I would have freaking swapped. And I get it. They wanted it to go towards the end because, you know, it's the AEW Women's World Championship. And it would have been weird to put the AEW Women's World Championship before the TBS Championship. So I get why they did that, but I still would have swapped it just for the sake of it. All right, let's go ahead and continue on from here. Let's see. This one is from David Hodis, who says every interaction they've had since the Lights Out match has been disappointing. I think that some of the stuff that they did was good on Dynamite, but the last match that they had, that like tag team match, was not the greatest. But everything before that I thought was pretty good. Like, I liked the incorporation of Mercedes Martinez getting involved, you know, Jamie Hayter, and, you know, all of that was fine. That was fine. But I think we all feel a little bit better, maybe feeling like this may be a San Antonio win for Thunder Rosa. We'll see. Mike Parker sends in a super chat saying, plus, where was Mercedes Martinez to help Thunder Rosa? Well, I mean, here's the thing about Mercedes Martinez and Thunder Rosa. They're not like, they'll help each other out, right? If they're just happen to be like both in the same vicinity, but it's not like they're an actual, you know, set. They're not a duo. They're not besties, you know? At least that's not the story that we've been told here. Thank you so much to Mike Parker for also sending in this super chat here. Let's go ahead. And we got Sean Williams who says, I don't think the placement of the card was the problem. I don't know. We got more people asking why Thunder Rosa didn't have anyone to help her. And Andrew says, was the crowd dead the whole night because it came off that way on TV? No, they certainly popped for a lot of things, guys. They popped for a lot of things, but I do think the crowd could have been a little bit hotter. I think that the shows are really long. Honestly, guys, the shows are long. Like, there's a lot of good stuff and you're excited for everything. But at the end of the day, the shows are really long. You're sitting there for like, Jesus, like, what is it? The buy-in starts at 7, right? Yeah, 7. The show, 8 o'clock Eastern time. And then we weren't done until midnight for the show. So it's a long time to be there. Keep in mind, you know, that people were watching like so much. So that's why I thought that they should have trimmed down the MJF CM Punk match, because I know that by the time we got to Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson, I was exhausted. I was legitimately exhausted. We got a super chat from Joe Pepe who says, all the people saying the crowd wasn't in it. As someone there was constant dueling, Thunder Rosa DMD chants with little lulls. We were definitely into it. There was also a moment where, like, you know, people were like putting up their phones and, you know, lighting it up and all of that. That was really nice too, by the way. I don't know if that was shown on TV, but it was nice to see in person though. Thank you so much to Joe Pepe for sending that in here. And this is from Ramon who says, sounded hot to me, but they could mix mic better. If you had the volume down, it didn't sound great. Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. I did have somebody text me. Somebody texted me and they were like, hey, Denise, is the building full? Is it not full? And I was like, yeah, it's full. Why are you asking? They were like, oh, because the crowd isn't lit. And I think this was during the buy-in show. I don't know if the crowd was lit during the show, but during the buy-in show, I had somebody ask me if the venue was full because they couldn't see like the upper deck. They couldn't see the people. And I'm like, yeah, it's full. Like the whole arena was completely full. Like I even made sure to tweet it out because someone had asked me and I was like, okay, well, I guess the crowd just wasn't, you know, being lit. All right, let's go ahead and continue on from here. Yeah, this is a comment from Emmanuel who says long, but for quarterly pay-per-views, it's definitely worth it. Yeah, I agree with you. It's long pay-per-views, but dude, when you got these, you know, when you got these pay-per-views so spread out, you're going to get these, and you know, they cost a pretty penny too. So people are definitely getting their money's worth too. All right, let's go ahead and continue on from here. I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss anything. All right, let's get into Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson. Jon Moxley defeating Bryan Danielson, which I think was the right way to go about this, because I think Jon Moxley needed this win much more than Bryan Danielson did. Now, this is the match that I particularly want to rewatch on TV because there were a lot of things that, so let me give you guys a quick little description of what we were seeing. So the big screen TV on the stage, like we couldn't see any of the action on there. Like the whole entire time, they just had the AEW Revolution logo. So then there was the TV, the screens all the way at the top. So from my angle, I couldn't even see those TVs because they had all of the equipment for the lights surrounding the TV. So I could only see like little bits of what was happening on the screen, like the little stuff that I couldn't see from like my eyesight. I had to try and watch on the screen, but it was very hard because it was not a good angle. Stuff was being blocked. So from my point of view, there was only so many options to get to see. So I feel like I missed a lot of the like finer details in this match. And that was kind of one of those things where I'm like, okay, from everything that I saw, my favorite stuff was everything that I could see. Isn't that sad? Anyways, let's talk about this though, because Eddie Kingston, Chris Jericho was really good, but I really do think that Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson did something similar, but made it just a little bit more in terms of it was just like the execution of everything that they did during this match really, really made it feel like a fight. It was like a brutal fight between two guys who really knew what they were doing. And so for me, that kind of made this match extra special to me. And that is why I really hate the spot that it was on during this card. Had it been put again somewhere at the top, I think this match would have been appreciated a lot more from the live audience. I don't know how the TV audience felt, but from the live audience, I do think that people would have been more into it. Also, so before I get to the finish, my favorite part during this match, there was a moment where we were literally seeing Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson just like freaking like headbutting each other back and forth. Like that was brutal. But that was probably one of my favorite moments here. But we literally saw Moxley really lay in like all of the strikes on Danielson, and same thing for Danielson. We saw them, go out side of the ring. We saw all of that. We saw Moxley take down Danielson with a killer lariat. That was really cool too. Let's see what else we got here. I'm trying to remember a lot of stuff, guys, but I'm trying to get into for those of you who do not know, I did not take notes for this show. So everything is just from what I remember in this freaking match. All right. So please, guys, if there's a pivotal moment that I forgot, bring it up here so that I can remember. All right. So for the finish, we did see the triangle sleeper. Now, this was one of the things where I don't know how this came off on TV, but in the audience wise, when this happened, it was kind of felt like it was out of nowhere. Like out of nowhere, the bell rings, the match is over. I didn't get to see anything of like, what the hell was happening? My reaction was like, okay, cool. Like, here's what we're at. We're watching, we're seeing this submission unfold. And then out of nowhere, bell rings, match is over. I didn't get to see anything from like that like moment. So whatever people were watching on TV, I think that the crowd was not able to really see that, and therefore I don't think the reaction was there from the people legitimately, just because we couldn't see what was happening there between both guys. So I did kind of think that the finish fell flat legitimately just because we couldn't see. So that's how I felt about that. I remember like I turned to the guy that was next to me, and the guy that was next to me turned to me and was like, what? That's it? It's over? Oh shit. Like that, it just came out of nowhere for the people watching at the show. So I didn't love that. But before I had any sort of like moment to like even contemplate what we had just seen, out of nowhere, I hear everybody cheering, and I'm like, what's everybody cheering about? Well, granted, we were seeing okay, so first we were seeing, before the cheering happened, we were seeing Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley. They got back up and they started fucking beating the shit out of each other. That was freaking awesome because even though the match was over, they were like, this ain't done. Like, we still don't like each other. Let's kick each other's ass, etc. Oh, I freaking love that. You see everybody trying to separate them, but they can't be separated. And then I hear the cheering and I'm like, why is everybody cheering? So I'm like looking, and then finally I turned and I'm like, oh my God, I recognize that hair anywhere. You know, those really nice little wavy kind of hair. I'm like, it's William Regal. So then we have William Regal come out and he goes into the ring, and I'm thinking like, all right, what's going to happen here? What's going down? He gets into the face of Jon Moxley. I don't know what he says to him. Freaking smacks him. And I'm like, oh shit, like what is happening right now? I didn't know if he was like, I didn't know what this was all about for like a split second. And then he gets into Danielson's face and does the same thing. And I'm thinking he's straightening these freaking guys out. And holy shit, they're probably going to be doing a stable led by William Regal with Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson. That has been the story that they've been like going with on Dynamite, where, you know, Bryan Danielson wanted to team up with Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley was like, well, we need to bleed together first. So this was really cool. This was really, really cool. It was by far one of the biggest moments of the night because people were not expecting to see William Regal and people lost their freaking minds. So this is awesome. In the post-media scrum, Tony Khan did note that not only will William Regal be an on-camera person, obviously he's all elite, but he is going to be doing some like behind-the-scenes stuff. He didn't really emphasize like exactly what, but he did mention like, you know, working with young talent, probably helping them develop a little bit more. So I'm wondering if William Regal is going to play a role in this Ring of Honor stuff. Who knows? Who the hell knows? BTW, Tony Khan did confirm that he is going to be the booker for Ring of Honor. And I asked him if he was going to be bringing in anybody else to essentially help with that stuff, given, you know, so much that is going to entail all of that. So I'm thinking that, well, he didn't outright say it because, you know, he obviously wants to keep things, you know, under wraps. And there's still so much that's like in the preliminary phases. I think that I would not be surprised if William Regal is going to play a part into that, but we'll see. All right, guys, reactions. How did you guys feel seeing William Regal? What did you think of all of this? Let's see what we got here, guys. Mike Parker says the behind-the-scenes stuff will be huge. Church of Platinum says maybe Regal can teach Mox how to actually wrestle. What? You're not a Jon Moxley fan? What? I did not know that's where that was going. I was like, okay, where are we going with this? Nope, did not expect that. All right. Raphael Smooth says, I'm shocked William Regal is here at AEW. Surprise of the night. Yeah, it really did feel like a major surprise. At least it was to me. Bobby C says, the bigger picture with Regal's appearance is that it's all but guarantees we are getting a Moxley, Bryan Danielson stable. Church of Platinum says, I like the irony here. Danielson exposed Mox like how Regal exposed Oldberg. It all comes full circle. Katie Window Cleaning says, I don't think people realize just having Regal there is going to help AEW so much. It's not even funny. That's because William Regal has like a multitude of talents, guys. A multitude of talents. And, all right, I think we're pretty much okay on there. But let's go ahead and jump into, let's see. Jesus Christ. The Tornado Tag. Sammy, Darby, Sting versus the A.H.F.O. Andrade, Matt, Isiah, Cassidy. Wow. Wow. Where do I even begin here, guys? This was supposed to be just a match to give us a little break in between the last match and the next match. I was expecting it to be a little fun, but I wasn't expecting it to be outright fucking insane. All right. And that's what it was. It was insane. The two things this was a spot fest. Okay. So much of that going down, but the two things we need to really talk about here. Well, actually 3 things we need to talk about here. 3 things. One, Sami Guevara freaking doing the Spanish fly off the top of the freaking stage area was crazy. It was nuts. I saw them going up, climbing up. And keep in mind, at this point, there's things going on at both arenas. Like, there's nothing going on in the ring. We got a lot of stuff going on the stage area. And then there's also stuff going on in the crowd. So it was like two different things going on both sides of the arena. And I'm wondering, like, okay, where are we supposed to look? Where are we going with this? And I'm seeing Isiah Kassidy, start to climb up on the stage. And I'm like, all right, okay, I'm gonna look there. So I'm watching and I'm thinking, like, okay, maybe he's gonna do like a crossbody, something off of there. I don't know. Maybe he's gonna do something there. But then I see Sammy start to climb and I'm like, shit, Sammy's going up there. Sammy is crazy. He is going to do something. And then we all expected it. He goes up there and I'm just like praying that this is like executed, flawlessly, because that is such a dangerous spot. They got the table set up there. You got both guys on the top and it was a drop, guys. That was in my perfect view. I could not believe it. So we see Sammy going up there and instead of like focusing in and making sure he's got everything in place. Like, obviously he did that, right? But he looks at the crowd and he just kind of like signals everybody like, hey, you guys want to see like a cool flip? Like that sort of thing. Freaking hits it. They kind of slide off a little bit off the table. It was just such a moment where I think people were just in shock that was even a possibility, something that was dead. And then I thought that was it. I thought that's going to be the spot of the night. That's it. Coolio, I'm good with that. But no, we ended up going back to the other side, and all of a sudden we see like a bunch of the guys go up into like God, I don't even know what it's called. They're up there in the fan area by the stage, not the stage, the entrance way, and they're on the barricade and all of that. And we're seeing them fighting, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe some of the guys are gonna do a cool spot off of that. Okay, but then all of a sudden it's just Sting, and I'm like, oh my God, no way. Sting is going to be the one to do the spot off of that. There's no way this is going to be Sting. And then before you knew it, it was Sting, and freaking Sting just fucking like, sorry for the language, but him like literally diving off of that was one of the things that I was not expecting whatsoever, guys. Like, I was not expecting this moment. It was so cool. And I have nothing but the utmost respect for Sting. Sting's already loved. Sting's already an icon. Sting is 62 years old, doesn't need to be going out there and doing stuff like this. And people would still love him if he didn't do this stuff. And he went out there and he did that. And it was just like, I don't know what to say. It was just one of those moments where you're like, thank you so much. We are not worthy of you. Like, we are not worthy of Sting. That was really wild, guys. That was very, very wild. We got a super chat from Joe Pepe who says, Sting, that is all. I have no words, guys. What words can you give? Thank you so much to Joe for sending in that super chat. Let's go ahead and see what people are saying here in regards to this. This one is from Austin Cruz, who says the Spanish fly off the stage and Sting's dive were so shocking. I'm still perplexed at both moments. Crazy at AF. Joe Pepe says this was so hard to follow live. It really was, guys. It really was. So also, the one thing, thank you so much to Sean Williams. This was the third thing that I wanted to mention was this was such a fun match with such great moments. Iconic moments, right? But damn, that finish sucked butt. All right. It really, really did. Unfortunately, the coffin drop did not hit. Darby and Matt Hardy did not touch. And I'm thinking, please don't go for the pin. It is so obvious that you guys did not connect. Your bodies did not touch. It is so obvious. Please do something else. Don't let this be the finish. But they sold it. They went for it. Got the 3 count. Darby wins for his team. And I'm like, damn, that really ruined it. Like, that one, the way that it ended things, I really wish they would have done something else and maybe went for the coffin drop one more time. I really wish they would not have pretended like he actually hit the coffin drop. That was the one thing where I'm like, ooh, it kind of it kind of took away from all of like everything else that we saw. But regardless, those moments were so grand on their own that we're still going to talk about them and mark out about them. But it, for a second, did ruin this match. It could have been like perfect had that ending not been messed up there. But we got a super chat from Flamethrower Fluff Salisbury, who says, I think Sting gets invigorated hanging around these other creative performers. I mean, like, think about it. Like, you know, he's in there with these guys that are known for doing cool stuff, but at the same time, it's like, I still wasn't expecting it. Like, I wasn't expecting it. Nobody was. All right. Christopher Marino, good friend here of the show, says, we all thought Sting would influence Darby, but it seems the other way around. You are right, my friend. You are definitely right on that. Okay, and let's go ahead and continue on from here. Katie Window says, to be fair, guys, it was more or less the angle of the camera caught it. If the camera didn't catch it, you wouldn't have assumed he nailed it. Nope. I was there in the audience, man. That thing was crystal clear. It was missed. I think no matter what angle you were in for that camera, you would have seen it. It didn't. Everybody, wherever you were, knew that spot did not connect for the finish. So I kind of did hate that they just went for it and we just had to pretend. I was like, damn it. I can't suspend my disbelief that much. But we got Roberto Arsenal sends in a super chat saying, AEW had another great pay-per-view, but including the pre-show, it's 5 hours. You can't expect the crowd to keep all the energy for 5 hours. That's my only nitpick. I feel you, man. I was sitting there, and as much as I was into the show, I was excited. Very excited. Sean Williams says that the guys got 3 replays. And how was that in the replays? I didn't get to see any of the replays, guys. None of the replays. But from my spot where I was sitting at, I saw that did not connect. I don't know what you guys saw in the replays and how it looked on the replays. Someone says it looked more like a flying headbutt. Okay, cool. Katie Wendell says the angle on TV wasn't that bad. Live, I bet it was though. Yes, live it was very obvious, but TV, you can make things happen. All right, cool. Well, I'm glad it didn't hurt as much on TV for you guys, but for me, yeah. All right, AEW World Championship, Hangman Adam Page, and I was going to say Hangman Adam Cole. Hangman Adam Page versus Hangman Adam Cole. We got a super chat from James T. Brett who says, great pay-per-view after surprise heavy all out and wrestling clinic full gear. This one left the best balance. Punk, Bryan, Page, Bucks on fire right now. They are definitely on fire. Thank you so much to James T. Brett for sending in this super chat. All right, so Hangman Adam Page versus Adam Cole. This was a lot of fun, and one of the things that I think was really funny during this match was all of the crowd chants during this. Like, people were chanting, like, let's go, Adam, and, oh my God, they had so many chants, guys. Like, it was pretty funny, like, all of the Adam chants that they were doing. I think that kind of made this match feel, I don't know, it kind of gave it like a comedic sense to it. Like, even though that wasn't the intentions of this match, it made it like the crowd made it funny. I don't know, but this was really good. I think for this, and it was kind of hard to tell too, like, who are people rooting for? Because of all of the Adam chants, I legitimately did not know, like, are we rooting for Adam Cole? Are we rooting for Hangman Page? I have no idea. So this match was a little bit, at some points, a little bit hard to read. I think that there were people, going for Adam Cole and some people going for Adam Page, but this was a lot of fun, guys. I think Hangman Page has been getting he's been getting unnecessary flack for his run as AEW champion, but I legitimately have been enjoying everything that he's been doing with Bryan, with Lance Archer, everything that he did prior with Kenny Omega, which was one of the best stories that we had seen in AEW. Just so much realism to all of that. And then for this one here with Adam Cole, it was just one of those things where I love Adam Cole, but I did not want to see Adam Cole win this match. I just really felt that Hangman Page still has so much to do as champion. And I was kind of worried. Like, there were certain moments during this match where I thought, damn, they really are going to give it to Adam Cole. And not to take away anything from Adam Cole, but it needed to be Hangman Page, in my opinion. Like, he still has so much more that he can do. I think that there's still a great story to be told there with Hangman Page. And then even afterwards in the scrum, one of the things that Punk sort of touched on, part of what he hinted on was that he was going to be going for the AEW World Championship. Like he mentioned, like, yeah, I like Adam Page, but you know what? I think I'm pretty much considering going for the title. So he didn't outright say it, but he kind of worked his way around saying the fact that he is going to go after the championship. So that is going to be very, very interesting to see what happens from there. But we got a supremely massive generous super chat from Sabrina. Thank you so much to Sabrina, who says, do you think that AEW uses its time with matches loosely? Because some of the matches I felt took way too long, whether that's them trying to make the storyline more meaningful or something else. Should they model WWE's time frame with their pay-per-view matches? Well, here's the thing. Like, there were certain matches, again, that I think could have been cut shorter. I think that here's the thing, though. Let me go back up. Let me just go back up to the top of this card really quickly just to gather my thoughts for a second. So let me see. So Eddie Kingston, Jericho was 14 minutes. The AEW World Tag Title, 19 minutes. Those all felt like that was the time that it needed to be. Face of the Revolution was 18 minutes. Jade and Ty Conti was 7 minutes. And here's the thing about this one, guys, because I told you guys I was not necessarily totally in love with this match, and we all knew what it was going to be. But 7 minutes is, I think, a fair amount of time to give them. I don't want to say it should have been shorter, because I feel it would have been unfair to give them like a 5-minute match or, something shorter. But so that's why I would have taken from the CM Punk MJF match. That one was 26 minutes. I think they could have told the exact same story within, just a couple minutes. Or they could have done like 20 minutes, and I think it would have still been as effective. Like, I don't think that they needed the extra like 6 minutes to make an effective story. I think regardless, it was there. The AEW Women's World Championship, Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, was 17 minutes. Unfortunately, just because, like I said, the timing of that and the fact that the people weren't necessarily too, like, there was not connecting, right? That one could have probably been trimmed down a little bit, but not too much either, because that's also a championship match. So it's like, where do you cut from? John Moxley, Bryan Danielson, 20 minutes. That was good too. The main event was 13 minutes. Wow. 13 minutes for the tornado tag. They got a lot done in 13 minutes. And the championship match, 26 minutes. So I think that they gave each match a fair amount of time. So again, if I had to trim down for any of them, it unfortunately would probably have to be the MJF CM Punk match. That's the one that I would, if I had to trim for somebody, it would be that one there. But thank you so much to Sabrina for also sending in this super chat. But see, here's the other thing that I want to add to this too. It's like when you have so many matches so many stories that legitimately have been, given so much attention in terms of like people are interested in the stories. It's hard to say like, oh, here's a, 12-minute match. Here's an 8-minute match. It's like, no, well, there was so much that people were invested into these stories. People were are invested into these characters and who these people are. So you want to make sure everybody gets a fair amount of time. But I remember like Full Gear, CM Punk, Eddie Kingston, that was not a long match, and it ended up being like the best match of the night. I don't remember how long it went. I feel like maybe it was around, 13, 15 minutes, somewhere around there. Like, it was not a long match, yet that one ended up being like the best match of the night, or like one of the matches that was like the best stuff. And it wasn't a long match, but it still got over. I mean, look at the tornado tag. Like, that one was like, all over the place, but it wasn't only 13 minutes and it ended up being super memorable. So, you could cut down a little bit and still have these memorable matches. Thank you so much to Sabrina. I hope I kind of answered your question. Kind of. All right, guys, let's go ahead and I think that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions from the scrum that I did not answer, this is the time to send them in, and I will answer those right now. But before I'll let you guys get those in right now. So send those in. Send those in if you have any, if there's something I did not touch on. please send those in. But if not, just really quickly, I'm going to go over the lineup for AEW Dynamite on Wednesday. I will be here on Wednesday to do my post show for that. We got the TNT Championship match between Sami Guevara versus Scorpio Sky. Scorpio Sky, this was announced by Tony Khan on Twitter that he would basically be getting the match against whoever won that triple threat match, which Sammy won in a phenomenal match, I may add. That could have easily been a match on AEW Revolution, the triple threat that took place at Rampage. So, Sami Guevara versus Scorpio Sky should be fun. AEW Women's World Championship #1 contender match is going to be Thunder Rosa versus Leyla Hirsch. I think we're all kind of know that it's got to be Thunder Rosa here, guys. It's got to be Thunder Rosa. And then we got the AEW Dynamite St. Patrick's Day Slam for Rampage. For Dynamite. The following week, we have the TNT Championship is going to be on the line, and it's either going to be Sami Guevara or Scorpio Sky versus Wardlow. And then AEW Women's World Championship, Dr. Britt Baker versus Rosa or Hirsch. Chances are it's going to be Rosa. So we'll see where we go from there. Let's go ahead and see if I got anything that I wanted to add here. This is from Bino, who says, "What's up, Denise? I saw you and Sean on Sunday in the parking lot before Revolution, but was too nervous to say hi to you both. You should have." Well, actually, if you saw us in the parking lot before the show, we were in a rush because we were late to the check-in, and they had told us that everybody had set up already, and we were like, oh my god, we're gonna go and get a terrible spot. And like, we went to one side of the arena and we ended up having to go to the other side of the arena, so we were kind of like speed walking or trying to speed walk to the media check-in to get our spot on the to get our spot. So it was kind of a little hectic, but we figured it out. It was fine. And then, let me see if I want to make sure that I got whatever else I needed to get on here, making sure I got everything. Edwin Pacino says Sammy versus Sky needs to be given lots more hype. Dude, Sammy's been freaking killing it. So I think that the hype is there regardless of what AEW does because people are so into what Sammy has been doing. And yeah, I also want to mention that Danhausen did get a great reaction from the AEW audience. And Sean Williams says you haven't mentioned PVS, Paige Van Zant. So Paige Van Zant, she I'm trying to remember what Tony Khan said about her in the scrum. Oh, I forgot what he said. Something about him being excited. I'm not going to add too much about that. I forgot what he said about her. Oh my God. Yeah, okay, well, you guys can watch that when I upload it. I'll post it somewhere on Twitter. I was trying to remember what he said about her, but I cannot for the life of me. I was there till 2 a.m., and there was a lot that was said. Alrighty, guys, there you go. Thank you guys so much for joining me here today. I'm so bummed that I had to wait to do this post show, so late, but, given due to, like, travel and internet and all of that good stuff, I'm so glad that a lot of you guys came on here and watched the show live. I really thank you guys so much for that. You have no idea how crazy these last few days have been. So I appreciate your support. This week, I will be back tomorrow. I'll be here on F4W to do NXT 2.0. Wednesday, I'll be back to do Dynamite. And then Friday, I will be here for Rampage and SmackDown. We got a super chat from Sabrina who says, just asking, but do you have a link to rewatch Revolution? No, I don't, actually. I do not have a link to rewatch Revolution. I think you would have to purchase it. I don't know if BR Live, I don't know if they let you watch the show back. That's something to check out because I've never watched the show back. Like if I watch on TV, I watch on TV, right? And I don't usually have to watch the show back. But if I watch live, I've never gone back and watched the show on TV. So I want to rewatch some of the stuff. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I'm going to probably have to go to BR Live and see if I can do that. I don't know if that's an option. But thank you so much to Sabrina. So I'll have to figure that out as well. All right, guys. So thank you so much for everything. Please, guys, head on over to youtube.com/Denise Salcedo. Go check out that interview with CM Punk. I posted that one up. The Hangman Page one is up. Sting is up. And I'm working on getting the Tony Khan one up next. All righty, everyone. Thank you guys so much. Love you all. I'll see you on Twitter @ Denise Salcedo. Bye, everyone.